You know, they would love to ruin all of the teams behind them by just making it past Moist and making an even deeper run in this event. Who knows how far they can go based on today's form.
We've got Endpoint in the orange, Moist in the blue, a best of 7 to survive here in event number 2 of our spring split for Europe. Joyo will punt down the skies out of boost at midfield, just trying to play some chaos, and Vatir will get involved as well, pick up the midfield nugget and rotate back out. Now Rise past one and the airborne. He's got Vatir in the midfield, loses control of the ball, but still manages to pick it up on the other side from Vatir, put it onto the backboard.
Yeah, lovely little team play there from Moist, although it looked like it might have been unintentional. They put themselves in positions to be successful like that. Can Endpoint match Moist mechanics? That, for me, has to be the key. Endpoint's mechanics looked to be peaking earlier on today against Semper, but Moist are at a different level.
You think Archie had an extra edge against Semper, given the roster change?
It turned out that it looked like he did. I thought it was going to go the other way. You know, I don't usually think that players going against their old team can be the greatest thing. You know, takes your mind off the game and more about personal rivalries, but maybe he just doesn't really get bothered by that rivalry so much. Maybe he's just having such a great time with this Endpoint roster. You know, crossed my mind after seeing how well they were doing. This is an Endpoint team who, with Seiko on the roster, we're known for just having such a great vibe and such a great ability to bounce back from losses, from failure. So that could be a nice environment for Archie to thrive in.
Archie is a player with a strong mental game. A strong passion for the game here. Looking for a double tap. Not gonna find it. Relating wave on the follow-up. The other corner snipes it and puts the first goal in.
Placement from Relating Wave, but power as well. He needed to shoot this one quickly. Rise was lunging out the underside of the crossbar. Just barely missed out on getting a touch on that. Key from Relating Wave. Changing the angle of the shot and also not shooting it as high as you can into the net. It's actually further away from the in and out save if you get a little bit lower on the shot like Wave did there.
Rise out of this corner. Clears in front of the box. Joyo's up for it. Misses the ball. Joyo with a few mechanical errors so far here in game 1. Something to keep an eye on as the series moves forward. Rise on the wall. All of Moist here a little bit backwards in their own back third. Relating Wave putting it right behind Rise. Vatir will close in, cover up the gap, try to take control. No reset yet. Looking for a block. Joyo doesn't quite find it, and Rise not going to be able to pick up the rebound here. Endpoint will emerge with ball control, but I like the way they drew up the play. Oh, off the post. So close. Rise now looking for the counterattack on the field, getting hounded. Relating Wave in the midfield. Keep control and a follow-up challenge. Vatir has to bail him out on the goal line.
Yeah, Endpoint really starting to pepper in Moist net here. Dark shot going on target, but these are shots with some venom on them. Every single one of them. Bad intentions. Moist, with every minute that goes by, that's another minute today that they've not scored a goal in. Shots and chances few and far between.
Endpoint to the outside. That's up high. Relating Wave with a block. Another one. Rise coming off the ceiling. I think he used a flip. He'll use it again. Down there in the middle now. Relating Wave versus Vatira. Trying to put it onto the backboard. Vatira's a little bit loose. Pinches to the corner. And extended by Rise. He'll find a block on the wall challenge. Wow. Now Relating Wave. High again. Rise quickly back into the action. Trying to pass to Joyo. Connects with him. Back to the outside. Relating Wave. Clears to empty territory and then chases it down himself to extend the play.
Got to give Vatira props here. He might get some more. Not if he hits the bar with that shot, but that defensive save that he just made moments ago was pretty ridiculous. He flew up to contest the air dribble and then actually turned around, flew back onto the backboard to catch the ball and stay in the play. That's next level mind games in defense from Vatira.
Oh, they look for the bump on Archie, but he gets airborne quickly to break up the pass play. It's been a day for good saves in RLCS. Betsa looking for another shot. Joyo managed to jump over Relating Wave's demo and then make the stop for another save.
Lots of time now on the ball in this play for Moist, but time getting away from them overall in the game. 24 minutes, still no goals today for Moist. Such a rare thing for a team who have become known as one of the most mechanical teams of all time. One of the most threatening offensive teams of all time. Right now, they just can't create a realistic chance on net. Credit to Endpoint, not only for their defense, but their midfield pressure. They're not even giving Moist a close-up look at the goal.
Yeah, the shot differential here, not too extreme. Finally, we'll see Rise put in a goal on the pass play and break the drought.
Endpoint all got caught off the goal line for a bit too long there. Vatira sends it towards the goal. Rise there to knock it on one little bit faster. And finally, Moist have broken that streak of minutes gone without scoring. If they went 5 games in a row without scoring a goal, I think it would have started to become a bit of an identity crisis, but that could be Moist back in the play. But they've got to do some defending here, and they can't miss the Norris beats them to it. And that's great. You've broken your scoring duck, but you've just got a conceded Vatira with a rare backboard whiff.
A scoring drought is also a game win drought, and that's not looking good here with only 24 seconds left. They're having to score again. But I think especially like 5 games straight of no scoring across 2 series, like going up against 2 different teams having that problem makes it even a worse situation for them. But so 1 goal game, 14 seconds. Bit of control here. Joyo with an opportunity, but taken off the pitch. 8 seconds now. Vatira's trying to pass to Rise, but Archie's already airborne. Clears it to the backboard. Joyo's up for it, extending to Rise. A nice setup, but blocked by Metanaris. What a pre-jump. Into the ground, not quite. Vatira's holding it on, but it's 0 seconds. It's off his hood to the back. Relating Wave looks for one more. Not going to find it. Doesn't need it. Endpoint take game 1.
Yeah, no more goals per game for Relating Wave on that one, but they're going to take the win either way, and that's all they care about right now. Endpoint desperately need a deep lower bracket run if they're going to stay alive for Landon, or at least stay one of the favorites to make Landon. Right now, they're outside that top 5 in spring points. The Moist, who are deep inside the top 5, second in fact, they are really struggling today. Very lifeless performance by their impeccable standards, and to see Vatira completely miss a backboard clear for that last goal is so rare to see. He didn't make contact. It's not that he mishit the ball. He just whiffed it completely. That's the guy who's holding it down in defense for Moist. That's the guy who today's been pulling out saves of a ridiculous standard, but he's completely whiffed that one.
I loved the goal Rise hit. It was one of my favorite types of goals. I actually had the scoreboard up, was looking at the shot differential when the goal went in, so I had to catch it on the replay. But those like across goal, like over your shoulders, dump it in the back kind of shots are fascinating to me. I want to see more of that, but you pointed it out in the middle of the game at one point. Endpoint, this wasn't 2 offenses clashing and Endpoint's defense just standing up. Like their best defense was their offense. They were in the blue the entire game.
Yeah, they're really just making life easy for themselves because you don't want to defend your net. You don't want to sit back in goal against Moist because they're too unpredictable. Well, apparently Team Liquid can do that, but no one else historically has been able to just sit back in goal against Moist and survive for minutes and minutes upon a time. But if you're coming forward and contesting the midfield, you can actually, I think, survive a lot more effectively, which is what Endpoint are doing. And they're doing it with a real pace on them. That's another shot, but will be saved. Metza had a lot of time with that one. Couldn't pick out his spot.
He almost had like too much time.
Yeah.
The defense was able to kind of like scramble and find a semblance of presence, just enough to block the one shot that was there. So Moist look for another one. Archie now down the length of the field. Joyo bump high. Joyo with the car change.
Yeah.
Moving away from the Mach-E onto the Octane.
Yeah, not too surprising considering that they just haven't really felt like they're peaking this weekend. They've been tweeting about it. They've clearly shown it in their first match of the day here, being perfect swept. They can't get it together yet this weekend. I'm going to say yet because I have seen bounce backs from Moist in the past. We've seen lower bracket runs from them on numerous occasions. Can they figure it out? It becomes all the more difficult. Like you mentioned, the more teams you start struggling against. They are struggling against Endpoint somewhat here. Rise to the tight angle double to the crossbar. Joyo with the follow-up, denied by Wave. Great job by Relating Wave there, making himself huge on the goal line.
Huge block. Metanaris now looking for the counter-attack on the other end. Tried to hold on to the flip. How does this go in? What happened?
Well, Rise was back, and he was in a 1v1 defensive position, but he didn't expect Metza to get a bump on him. Rise just played the ball. Metza just tagged him, barely got the slightest bump onto Rise as he was coming in to power clear this. That was a massive play by Metanaris.
I'm about 5,000 miles from the server, so there was my perspective, I'm not quite sure that I still have actually seen what happened in that moment, even in the replay. What a challenge. And Metanaris on another level today. Again, Endpoint in the lead here, game 2, and with so many opportunities. The story from game 1 to game 2 just continuing on, just a second verse. Vatira out of the corner, trying to set up Rise, but blocked at the point of contact by Archie, and Relating Wave puts it behind Joyo as he rotates out. He manages to hit his brakes and gain control, but Meta already up to hit him off the ball. Rise now has to extend it. So much boost being spent on the play here by Moist just to get the ball into the back third, and now the clear going to immediately undo it all.
Yeah, I would love to see more of a focus on team play from Moist. They're doing a great job of solo threatening, but they do need those little passes like so which we just saw there. That's something that makes them so dangerous, is when you mix up these solo plays with the passes, that they end up getting more space to make those plays that they're so well known for. Rise should have control of this position. It's sent back into the middle, but way too high for Endpoint to do anything immediately with. But Messinaris beats Joyo to the ball.
Messinaris is so fast today. Here he comes for another one, but Vatira will take to the sky early. He carries it the whole length. Archie, the clear caddy corner. Relating Wave with a block on Joyo and looking for one on Rise. Rise will sneak the ball past him. Vatira moving up the midfield. Does he take the pass option? Just goes for the fake and gets the ball open goal. Joyo will tuck it in.
Well, no doubt about that one. A little bit more of a blunt bump there from Rise as he mind games one. Gets his revenge on Metsinaris. Both players now with physical plays onto each other for goals at both ends of the field.
That was brilliant. What a play. Rise now... so that one technically went to Joyo, but Rise has effectively scored all of Moist's offense today.
Yeah.
Putting the team on his back in a huge way. Here's Vatira. Archie off the backboard, looking for Mets at the corner. Rise challenging, wins. Down to the backboard once more. Metsinaris with space, punts it high. Vatira picks it up. And now Joyo looking for the goalie, not going to find him. It's off to the corner. Archie holding on to control, keeping it over here on the wall. Rise has to kind of quickly turn on this, and the ball's lost all its momentum. Maybe difficult to get a solid clear out of this. And there's the challenge. Endpoint now advancing. Metsinaris, what a touch. Relating Wave puts it into the box. Archie's looking at it. It's a bit high. It's going to need some help. And Joyo makes it even more difficult, building a wall off that backboard. Archie off of one, and Joyo to the outside.
Endpoint really trusting their pace in this final third. They're attempting to fight Moist, even close to their own goal. For every single touch, going for the outplays. They're not taking 50s here. They're actually just going for complete beats on these races to the ball, and they're getting them a lot of the time. The speed that we're seeing from Endpoint today is something else. Rise now looking for another slow play. I'm surprised he didn't go for another bump there, because it was definitely something he could have pulled off in that position.
Yeah, I was expecting it as well. Relating Wave with a savior medal here, holding the game at tie with 27 seconds remaining. And Moist looking to bounce back, looking to get their first win on the day. To tie the series here. Metsinaris with the challenge. Relating Wave in the midfield. Archie now in the back corner. He'll leave it for Relating Wave on the rotation. A miss from Vatira. Here comes Metsinaris looking to punish, putting pressure on Joyo, who clears it to the corner. 5 seconds left. Overtime lurking on the horizon. There's Archie over one. Clock's expired, and Vatira, he's going to keep it alive and go for it in regulation out of the corner. The pinch from Metsinaris goes to the outside, and Relating Wave keeps it alive again. No one wants to go to overtime. Here comes Joyo. Over to the box. Vatira puts it high. Where is Rise? So far back. Not going to get a shot. Does he?
Oh, my.
Vatira to the outside, and finally, yeah. All right, overtime, finally.
Endpoint didn't want that 0-second play. They're looking for the ground, and Moist just keeping it alive. I mean, I think briefly their Endpoint are thinking about it, but you don't want to go 0 seconds against Moist. You don't want to fight Rise in a 1v1 at the moment. He is really gunning for not just the ball, but also opponent's cars after being bumped for the first goal for Endpoint. Archie being such a threat in the lobby today, and I've got to give it to him as well. Metsinaris not looking out of this one at all mechanically. So always so impressed to see the older players hanging with the young guns these days.
Yeah, Metsinaris, massive veteran in the scene. And what a shot, what a save. Vatira out of the corner post makes the stop, but the pressure's not out. Here's Relating Wave on the backboard. Vatira again with the stop. Rise looking for any clear here, just to extend it out, give them a moment to breathe. And Endpoint continues to keep the pressure on. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch now for Moist, and the ball's still in their back third. Joyo to the front end. Archie puts it over the top. Metsinaris is looking at it. Vatira's into the sky and has enough boost. Maybe get this to midfield, but he's going to run out at that point. Now Relating Wave to the outside. Joyo rotating into the back of his net. Here's Relating Wave falling on him.
Oh,
cleared by Rise.
Yeah, Relating Wave looking for the floor double there. It was covered. And now an accidental flip there, but I think by Archie in the net, but he's going to quickly recover. Get right back into the play. good to see the Vatira is seemingly unfazed by his miss in that first game, pulling out ridiculous saves once again. Now, he's going to do something in attack. It's going to go over to Rise. Archie alone in the back briefly. Vatira went for it. Archie times his jump to perfection, got past the bump, and still get the ball in the corner.
Vatira is trying so hard in this game. He is doing everything on every end of the pitch. And Endpoint is just one step ahead. They haven't managed to put the final nail in, but it does feel a little bit inevitable. A counterattack from Moist, though, could change everything. Now to the side. Joyo, gonna rotate on this. Vatira moving to the back third. Miscommunications possibly from Moist as they give a lot of space to that ball. And now Vatira down the middle. Rise not going to be there. Archie lofts it high. Joyo's up for it. Doesn't make a solid touch. Archie can't finish it off, but here comes Endpoint. Metzenar's back around one. Chasing this after full boost after the ball. Relating wave to the corner. Called off. Archie loses the challenge to Joyo. Demolition on Rise will help slow down the advance from Moist, but an important challenge win in the corner.
Yeah, it looked like Joyo might have made a mistake there moments ago, but he's the player who recovered to get the block in the near post shot that he accidentally created for Endpoint. Starting to feel, as weird as it is to say, like a must-win game for Moist. They're in trouble here. They're consistently being threatened by an Endpoint who have had a phenomenal output of shots in this matchup so far. With the day that Moist have had, they have to stabilize. They're going to concede another shot. Vatira with the last-ditch effort keeps it in the corner. This is just unbelievable for Vatira. But how long can Moist hang on?
As long as Vatira keeps firing on all cylinders, I think there's a hope here. He refuses to lose. The ball going behind him, though, is not a good situation here. Metzenars will ping it to the corner, and Joyo picks it up, gets bumped by Metzenars. Relating wave versus two. Onto the backboard. Joyo misses. Vatira's got to stop it, and he still does. He needs it again. Oh, they get it again. How do they keep on stopping this?
That's a phenomenal save again from Vatira to not hit the ball too far away from himself so he can get back to it and block the shot that he knows will follow that first save that he makes. We're now over 3 minutes and 30 seconds into OT, and there are so many saves for Moist, but mainly Vatira. This guy just putting a brick wall in the way of the Moist goal.
I thought Vatira was upfield looking for... He could have found the bump. Here comes Rise, though, up against another. Can he find the corner? To the pocket. Cleared off the crossbar. Vatira in for the follow-up, looking for the win. Off the backboard, undefended, but Joyo's facing the wrong direction. Rise now with an opportunity. Loses the ball to the backboard again, and Metzenars is there this time. Rise will push it back into the box. Archie now challenging out of goal, and Vatira committed on the shot, wanting the pass. Endpoint, though, playing perfect even when trapped in their back third. My goodness. Man, you mentioned the clock a second ago. This has been such a good overtime. I have, not looked at it once.
Yeah, this level from Endpoint is unreal. This team who struggled in Regional 1, now they're thriving in the lower bracket of Regional 2. I don't know how they managed to elevate so quickly after such a disappointing start to the split.
How do you lose Seiko and, improve? That's
yeah, this is the crazy thing. I mean, that's the level of a player that Archie is. When Seiko left the team, everybody thought, well, that's Endpoint done. Then we see that they got Archie instead. We think, well, hold on, maybe not. That could actually work, and it does seem to be working today. Moist hanging on for large parts of this overtime. Look at the control in the back corner from Archie. No danger at all. Relating wave accidentally bumping Archie there after looking to get a bump onto Joyo.
Here comes Rise. He scored all the goals for him so far today, with the help of Joyo in the last one. Here comes Vatira, though. He has been a man on a mission. Into the box, up against two. Runs into Metzenaris, who can do no wrong. 5 minutes of overtime come and gone. 2 games for the price of 1. Vatira in the corner, pops it over Relating wave. Archie on the challenge, wins 1. And now Metzenaris up against Rise. Both players go for the mind games. Neither player making contact. Now Joyo down the field. Archie was stopping.
Archie, he didn't get the touch that he wanted there, but he just managed to get back to the ball to stop the situation completely deteriorating for Endpoint. Another great pre-flip challenge there from Metzenaris. He's done this a few times this game, where he's pre-flipping into the ball. It's very difficult to get a solid 50 at the end of a flip, but Metzenaris is showing that he can do it.
And Relating Wave and Archie on that challenge were kind of on top of each other, behind the ball. Metzenaris was genuinely the only line of defense. Had to win 2 challenges in a row. He genuinely can do no wrong is a statement. I don't feel like Archie in front. Metzenaris looking for it. Joyo finds the slot between the players. And now Relating Wave pass 1, flips off the wall, looking for Metzenaris to win the game. Not going to happen. 6 minutes of overtime come and gone.
It's still Endpoint who look the more threatening of the two teams.
Oh,
Archie's
no,
actually got half an open net here.
That's a
Turns
horrible
on it,
skip.
slams it in. They have done it again. And they didn't need regulation for this one. Joyo getting intercepted by Metsonoris. Archie in the perfect spot downfield. And he makes a great open net shot straight down the middle. No doubt, Endpoint lead by 2.
The using the Moist player as like a doink pass bank shot. Like, what was that? Oh my goodness. And of course, I felt like that was the only way this game was going to end. I will say Moist's defense looked better and better as this was going on, but mainly was Vatira, man. I can't say enough about how well he played in that overtime.
Yeah, he really was unbelievable. And after making such a huge mistake in game 1, so, you know, great bounce back from him to just ignore that and get right back into what he does best, and that is being a brick wall. And not just a brick wall, but a brick wall who can somehow see 1 second or 1.5 seconds ahead of everybody else. He's in the right place at the right time almost every time. But Moist have to really dig deep here. This Endpoint roster are, well, they're either peaking or they've now finally reached their true form, because this is something we haven't seen from them, and they're having a great time with it as well. I mean, look at those face cams. They're of course still doing their getting up, and well, I don't know if they're getting live. The face cams are muted, but that's something you could definitely get behind, Waypunk.
Yeah, they're looking good. They're feeling pretty solid. Meanwhile, completely different vibe here for Moist. This 6-game losing streak they're currently on, their longest of the season. This team's gonna have to dig deep, find some new mental edge. I think we saw 2 players pop out of the lobby, so I'm expecting maybe 2 different cars here on the Moist lineup.
Yeah, it's going to be all Octanes. Vatira, I think, was actually playing the Fennec before this. So, you know, same hitbox, but a very different feel of a car. He's maybe going to try and go for a more mechanical, more speedy approach here. But that's not something that Endpoint has struggled with. They've been right on pace with Moist today. And that's, of course, something that we've come to expect from Archie. But Relating Wave and Metsa aren't really known as fast players. So that could be something that Archie's bringing to this roster. He's, you know, told the guys who were on the roster before he joined, let's up the pace a little bit. Let's just start really going for it, because sitting back is just asking to let the other team come and pressure you. And you said it yourself, Waypunk. They're defending by attacking. They're defending by pressuring that midfield in this matchup.
No, it's just, Moist cannot find a field arrangement that they like, where they can really get a good offensive rotation going, and they're constantly being interrupted by Endpoint. Nice set up off the wall. Relating Wave will get blocked, but Sonara's trying to build a wall here in the corner, which is honestly an ambitious play. But when Endpoint, if he's going for backup reverse into the enemy corner to try and find a block play, you know he's got confidence in Relating Wave and Archie to hold down the midfield.
And just a full faith team at the moment. Metsonoris, Relating Wave and Archie looking like they've been playing together for much longer than they actually have. And if you're a Moist fan tuning into this, seeing how the team's been doing today, honestly, I would say the first series of the day, they could have done a lot better. This one, I think they're just running into an Endpoint that are on a different level than what we've seen before. Literally today, in this entire split, before today, I don't think anybody expected this out of Endpoint. After what we saw, what they did to Semper earlier on, we had to reconsider and think, hold on a second. This is a real challenge for Moist, and right now a challenge they have not risen to.
The thing that I think is genuinely scary for Moist too is it's the teamwork from Endpoint and the consistency. Look at it, my God.
Wow.
Shot from Archie here on the pass.
Oh my.
So consistent.
I mean, you say teamwork, it's immediately coming through. Archie in the middle, Relating Wave hits it straight to him. Archie hardly had to move, just jumped straight up in the air to get to this one before Joyo can. And they are, one thing that they're doing consistently well is consistently putting out more threatening shots than Moist every single day. Moist have got to start creating chances. They've got to start passing. They've got to start getting the ball into the final third and keeping it there.
This is brilliant. And like the thing is when we see teams like in a situation like this, an Endpoint versus a Moist, where, you know, historically speaking, this season, everyone's predicting Moist every day of the week. When those upsets happen, though, it's usually on the back of some player who is just having the day of his life, showing up in this huge, and just some incredible goals that were like, surely he can't score that goal again. We're not seeing anything from Endpoint that is particularly, like, exciting in terms of like top 10 wild, weird goals. That's just beautiful, consistent, textbook Rocket League pass plays, shots with lots of power, placed very well, not losing your challenges. We've been talking about Metzinaris. In game 2, he was the bottom of the scoreboard. It's the challenges, it's the little plays in between the big moments that are absolutely driving a nail into the coffin of Moist right now.
Yeah, and every passing minute, Endpoint are just gaining confidence. They're at this point surely starting to believe that they can take on anyone with this new roster, and going from an outside chance of making the London Major to a very realistic contender. Moist still lacking that flair, lacking that offensive prowess that we've become so used to seeing. It's almost a given that it'll be there. As Metzinaris completely annihilates Vatira on the backboard. Vatira not ready for that one. He's trying to control this one, but he accidentally runs right into Metza.
Oh, if their mental had tripped and was laying on the sidewalk, Metzinaris just picked it up and threw it in the gutter. That's so demoralizing. Like, that doesn't look like a possible shot, and it goes in. What a play.
Yeah, and Vatira, I think he's trying to catch the ball on the back wall there, but it bounced off. So that means that the ball bounced off the wall before it hit his car. But what he's trying to do is either have both those things happen at the same time, or just have it hit your car barely before it hits the wall, so that you can just take control, dribble it into the back corner. So that's very, very small difference timing-wise, but a huge difference in terms of outcome. And it's, once again, another one of those back corner misplays from Vatira. He's not had many. I mean, overall, this match and this series, he's been unreal in defense. But every time he does put a foot wrong, Endpoint are there.
And that is the difference, right? The ability to capitalize, the ability to and the ability to capitalize every time. Oh, you made a mistake. We will make the touch we need. Even in extreme circumstances, that goal from Metza might be the craziest goal of this series so far. 0 degrees. Man, just the plethora of options that a little bit of wall separation unlocks for you once that ball is just not glued to the wall anymore. Absolutely brilliant. Here's Vatira, though. 25 seconds left, trailing by 2. Moist has such a situation in front of them, especially given down by 2. A loss here. They have to reverse sweep on a day they have yet to win a game.
Yeah.
This is a big one.
Yeah, they're going to have to say goodbye to any last-second efforts in this game. Time is gone. Endpoint have done it again, and this is after a timeout. Moist have tried to make the adjustments, but this game looked exactly the same as both of the games before. The only difference being that Vatira played the Octane. I mean, that's really all that changed. So if all they got out of that timeout was Vatira and switched to the Octane, then I don't think it was the most effective timeout I've ever seen. Moist, they just can't get it together or in this matchup. Wait, so now we've got a Moist timeout now. Was that an Endpoint timeout on a win before?
They didn't. I don't think they actually took a timeout. I think we just.
Oh, they didn't.
I think we just went to cameras first.
Oh, we just went to cameras. I was so confused. Yeah. I was thinking, right, they've gone to the cameras here. So is this a timeout? No, it wasn't a timeout before. Now it is. Okay. Now that makes a lot more sense as to why there weren't really any changes. Going from game 2 to 3.
They call the timeout though, and all we're seeing is one of the players going to the bathroom. We're not seeing conversation here. The coach is sitting, contemplating. I don't know. Like this is the bio break timeout. Like that's obviously if they need a bio break, that they need a bio break. Sorry, that has to happen. What an unfortunate situation though, to not be able to like regroup as a team, to have to like take care of off the field things during this time.
Well, it could also be that they just want to get a complete mental reset, separate. And we see Endpoint doing it like every time that they've taken timeouts all season. They get up, they, stay loose, they try and stay calm. I think it's proven to be a very effective strategy for them to keep their heads in a good space as the series get more and more intense and as the pressure rises. Now for Moist, they've not really been in these positions very often, so this is kind of new to them. BDS have put them in these spots once or twice, but this is different. They're not facing BDS. They're facing a new Endpoint with Archie on the roster, and they can't establish their game at all. I think they're probably going to put this down to themselves, though. They must surely feel like if they were playing well, they would be able to beat Endpoint. Because Endpoint are not a team that are currently in the top 5 in Europe for the spring. Since they signed Archie, they've been very inconsistent. So Moist, they've got to try and get it together here. They're not playing anywhere near their best in this series, and when you run into an Endpoint that are this hot and you're not playing well, it doesn't matter if you're Moist, you're still going to lose.
And Gregan brought it up on the desk. The Moist is, they've tweeted about it. They're not feeling their best right now. And I think even if they came into the series or into the day feeling well, being on now a 7-game losing streak is something I don't think any team in anywhere in RLCS is mentally prepared for. This is going to be one of the most difficult mental battles they've had to fight yet.
Absolutely. The biggest test for Moist yet, a new test for them. They have made so many consecutive grand finals between last split, the major, and now this split. This could be the end of that streak if they cannot dig themselves out of a massive hole and get past Endpoint.
What? Can you imagine the comeback though? Like, they almost get things started off well. A pinch clear from Endpoint will relieve pressure for a moment, but nearly ping-ponging in, and Endpoint comes out looking very flat-footed right now. They're benefiting from a complete lack of accuracy from Moist, and Metanaris will look for a counterattack. Vatira should get this one out of the way, and you kind of wonder if they can't be thinking about it right now, but Moist, that first minute was theirs.
Yeah, they should have scored simply. It was a perfect setup. It was an uncontested shot from close range. There's no way that Endpoint can cover the whole goal here, but it hasn't gone in, and once again, it hasn't gone in. It looked like a shot attempted, which ended up being more of a pass, which is also just slightly too far away. You know, you're between a pass and a shot, ended up being neither. Moist accuracy still not showing up when it needs to.
I would love to eat my words on this, Johnny, but I'm pretty confident this series is over. That's 2 drives in the first minute after a timeout. So, like, the amount, I don't, how many shots do they have right now? They have 5 shots from Moist Esports, and, like, absolute sausages on a platter. Just take me home, daddy. And nothing is in the back of the net. And oh my gosh, that nice stop. But yeah, you got to get the goals.
That was absolutely terrifying. Vatira had to just sit behind the ball and time his 50-50 to perfection, but he did brilliantly. You know, he's had a couple of blunders in this matchup today, but you have to give it to him. He's been unreal at times. Just stopping the ball from passing over that goal line. Oh dear, no. That's a complete miss. Wow. I don't think Archie was expecting that to be a miss. Probably set up for more of a blocking touch, but after the whiff, he had an open net, which he wasn't ready for.
Okay, so we've now seen that second shot from Archie also at least should have been on target.
I don't know, well, I would have to see it again, because maybe Archie's playing for the block there. He has to expect the Moist defender to hit the ball. So, that's going to be a goal, though. Rise has done it again. This has been a super messy game for Moist, but it doesn't matter. A win is a win, a goal is a goal. They've done it, but they've still, I think, got to step up from here.
This is a good start. Got a lead, got the first goal. I think this is their first lead of the day. I don't think they led in game 1. So here we go. Things looking better for Moist. The first of many steps completed, and here's an opportunity to extend it. This would be huge. Joyo trying to put this one on the crossbar. Comes up right off the block. Archie puts in his way. Metanaris to the corner. So close to having it be 2-0.
It was saved by Archie. Now a little bit of a mid-air pull shot. Relating Wave sends Metanaris more quickly into the ball, but it has been defended by Moist. They're starting to look for more bumps in the final third. Very, very far out of rotation. I think they're just trying to let loose a little bit here. Stop trying to play so perfectly with their rotation and surprise Endpoint with these random positions that they are so known for being in.
Moist pushed all 3 players on the offense on this drive. Ball above the goal, but nobody lurking in front of the box. Joy's going to come in on a sloppy clear and get it past another player. But right away, he's got to cover this up with the back, and he's not going to be able to. Vatira makes it a 2-goal game.
Excellent recovery here by Joyo. That is such a difficult ball to beat Metanaris to, but he manages to, because he lands with the power slide on to keep all of his momentum, immediately jumps up and centers perfectly for Vatira. That was what we've been expected to see from Moist all tournament long. It's what we've been expected to see from them all day. Just clinical finishing off the back of huge solo plays.
And maybe that timeout was just what they needed. Long way to go here. Still a minute 40 in game number 4. A series you have to play perfectly from this point on. Relating wave up. An extension. Here's Archie in the corner. And gonna miss as well. Metanaris though. Possibly some mind games here from the Endpoint players, but more than likely that's an open net. Here's Rise going to be able to get back just in time. Relating wave above the bar. Archie looking at it, thinking about it, trying to push it in. And Vatira with a nice flick And extend this one, looking for Rise in the midfield. Put back to the way. Archie turns on this one, has just enough boost. Reaching for it, back in front of the box. Cleared again. The Moist defense has found a wonderful rotation finally in game 4.
Yeah, they're starting to get it together here. I think that second goal probably settled their nerves just a little bit, made them think, okay, there we go. That looked like us. That looked like what we were doing when we were dominating EU. Okay. And now they've led into an easy goal. So this game, very much Moist to throw away at this point if they are going to. Metsonoris trying to clear the ball, ends up centering it by mistake. And now Moist have got to keep this momentum going. They need consistency. They can't afford to make any mistakes in defense. And this is the offense that we've been missing. It's the offense that we're so used to seeing from Moist, but not today.
Man, props to them for being able to somehow mentally bounce back from that first minute where everything was just right there in front of them and it fell apart. Well, I think what is more notable for this moment is not that Moist has scored 4 goals to me. It is the breakdown in the consistency of Endpoint, which for 7 games or so from their first series, their second series, very well maintained. We've seen quite a few mistakes on every side of the pitch from them, maybe being too confident here in game 4. I don't know.
Well, you know, Moist have they've started to play a little bit more aggressively in the final third. They're just following up very quickly on each other's touches instead of trying to play the ball into space and then wait and see what happens. This has been a much more difficult to read Moist formation, and it's something that they're very good at. They've shown us many times in the past that they can read each other to a very, very high level. And if they can continue to do what they've done in this game, this is still a competitive series. We've seen reverse sweeps from them in the past, but reverse sweeps in a best of 7 are extremely hard to do, especially when Endpoint still have a timeout of their own and they can still make adjustments. So I'm very much, you know, calling Endpoint the favorite, despite Moist turning it around. You've got to think that Endpoint will be able to sneak a game at some point.
No, and I mean, this is also when we talk about sweeps, and I think the most common scoreline in any series is going to be 3-1, 4-1, and this is statistically the most likely game for the team that loses to win. The team that is better plays 3 strong games. Again, every game feeling a little bit less like they have to try as hard. That lulls in game 4 here, and then in game 5 they buckle back down and finish the story. So I'm still, they're definitely not out of the woods. This was the easiest part for Endpoint, believe it or not, was winning game 4. Winning games 5 and 6 is going to be significantly more difficult. And that final shot from Metsonoris there, it clocks at 0, but the crazy angle he hit there, I feel like just for a moment, remember who we are. Remember what Metsonoris can do and how strong he's been playing today. This is going to be a crazy game 5.
Yeah, definitely. Endpoint have been at an extremely high level, and that's what makes it so unlikely that Moist will come back, even though it's Moist. You know, they're one of the best teams in the world, you know, second to BDS right now in EU, in everybody's top 5s, and they're a ridiculous team. But Endpoint today have had a ridiculous level as well. So if Moist can somehow get back into this, turn it into a close series all the way down the stretch, then I'll be amazed. And it all starts here, actually. Joy on Rise, trying to connect on the counter-attack, but looked like the flick went a bit too far.
Here's a wonderful stat to support, to give any amount of hopium to the Moist fans out there. There's been 93 reverse sweeps this season between all regions and events, and Moist, the roster of Moist, is tied for the most of any single team at 4. So for out of any team that's got a chance of reverse sweeping in RLCS, Moist is your best bet.
Yeah, they have to be telling each other that right now. They have to be saying to each other that they've got this. They've got to be telling Joyo that he's nuts. And hey, they've got to be shouting it right this very second, because he's got to open the scoring. Batira just put in a 1 shot on net, which Metsonoris couldn't control, and then pounces on his weak clear to center to Joyo.
A brilliant start to what is now. They have completed many of the steps needed. Then they're starting, the momentum is beginning to slowly shift here. Endpoint needing to find a way to get strong back on offense here, and all of a sudden they're feeling the pressure on the defensive side of things.
Yeah, that was a great call from Rise. He made it look like he was going to play the ball there, but he's calling faking. Oh, what a shot. Like, it should have been follow-up, but Fatira runs away with it. Where was the follow-up shot there? Or at least follow-up challenge from Endpoint. There isn't one. Fatira fakes out everybody.
Look at what do you do as the defender? You see Vatira here dribbling like Archie's like, okay, I got this. And he sees Joyo coming up behind him. Who do you block? What do you do? They built a wall behind the ball, and it didn't matter what Archie did. What a goal. 2-0. Moist building the comeback.
Yeah, really tough position for Archie. He's worried about the run-ahead demo there. He thinks the Vatira's going to pop the ball on target and then try and take him out of the picture. And then suddenly it's actually just two players playing the same ball in a 50-50. Kind of a side swipe goal there. So good job there from Moist. But this kind of carefree offense that they've utilized in the last two games is something that has given them so much success as a roster. They don't look like they care to commit everybody. They're just literally throwing two players at the ball there to see if it'll work. And how are you supposed to react to that in Archie's position? It's just impossible to read.
I think that's exactly why the play works. Is like Archie, he's like, oh, I need to be prepared to jump for the inbound demo. And then he's just completely not ready to block at the immediate challenge that comes when the demo's not there. And yeah, all that matters is the defender's not able to block you. The two players on top of the ball works somehow in that moment. And now a 2-goal lead. Moist looking strong. Another miss. And the most notable thing for me, the thing that has given me the most hope that Moist can make this comeback is the inconsistencies we're starting to see from Endpoint on their individual touches.
Yeah, Endpoint in a very back and forth gentleman's agreement to just boom the ball around and let's see who's got the most consistent touches. Let's see who can read each other as teammates the best and who can just go the longest without making a mistake. That was a matchup that Endpoint looked great in. They were playing just phenomenal standard Rocket League, but now the Moist have turned this into an absolute mess of chaos. They're the team who are much more able to thrive in this context. I think Endpoint, now that Moist are just playing so carefree, can't handle them as another goal nearly goes in. Rise thought twice about committing his third man there. I think that's huge as well. Rise could have easily just thrown himself at this, but as third man, you have to be a little bit more careful.
On the top, Joyo puts it wide, gets two defenders to bite. Here's the follow from Vatira. It's high again. Archie's able to recover a net. Relating Wave able to beat Rise. And Metanar is trying to extend it midfield, but can they find any semblance of offense that's been missing? We've seen them now shut out for about 9 minutes, which, you know, not notable given the shutouts that have already happened to Moist earlier in the day. But given how strong Endpoint's been, it is something to pay attention to. Rise onto the backboard. No one's home, but Tyr to drop it in. Oh, Relating Wave covers up the shot. What a block.
Yeah, relevant block as well. Still a long time to go in this game. Still match point for Endpoint.
Oh, no.
But Tyra's not going to give any chances to save that one. 3-0. And Moist, the team who couldn't create any chances hardly in the first 3 games of this matchup, have created a mountain of them in game number 5.
This is wild. They have now, in the last 2 games, outscored Endpoint in the first 3. 7 goals. Unanswered from Moist. When momentum shifts one way, it's hard to get it back, and Endpoint is suffering. 1.5 minutes left to go. Give or take a little bit. Rice keeps it to the sky, glues it to the ceiling. Joyo now picked on the backboard. Relating with the stop, but Rice is right there. Can't get it under the post. What? They're able to avoid complete collapse, but still, Metanars has to score on the other end.
A couple of ridiculous saves there, but right in between was an open net miss from Rise. Not that they need it. They just need to keep that clean sheet. It's the most important thing right now, and it's looking like a pretty difficult thing to do from this range. Relating Wave opens the scoring with just 54 seconds left. Is still on for Endpoint, though.
I'm still just... the thing that's notable about this play to me is Metanar is hitting the crossbar there. His accuracy was a linchpin they could rely upon through the first 3 games, through all of today so far. And the last 2, Metanaris has just been ever so slightly wide consistently every time he's behind the ball on the shot. But here comes an opportunity from Archie. Joyo able to play it slow over the top of him. Metanaris has to clear to his own corner. 43 seconds left. 2-goal game. Definitely a possible comeback, but every second that goes away makes this win for Moist more likely.
And they just have to get across the finish line here. You know, it was all Moist moments ago, but now Endpoint starting to fight back at them in the last few seconds. Moist trying to get the ball up into the air, waste as much time as they can, get into that game 6, still on the comeback trail.
15 left. Need to score on this drive. Metanar's not going to win the challenge. Empty backfield. Joyo's there, puts it to the outside for some reason. Doesn't need the goal anyways, though. 8 left now. Rise down the field. 5, 4. Batir's got control. Joyo's on the wall, and that'll do it. Moist rallying huge here. 2 wins in a row. Still on match point. We're getting closer and closer to game 7.
Did we forget? We should never forget that Moist are the best team in the world at avoiding elimination. Once it gets to the elimination game, their record for winning when the other team is on match point is unbelievably good. But something I'm not surprised by is that Endpoint are going to call a timeout right now. Yep. These two games have been completely against them. They've got to try and slow down this Moist offense, but Moist look like they're back suddenly. I don't know how they've done it, but they've managed to turn this day completely on its head. Endpoint, they look a bit confused all of a sudden. They're thinking, what happened? What happened to the Moist we were playing in game 1, 2, and 3? Give us that. Yeah. Give us them. We could beat them, but this is just, we can't read the game 4 and 5 Moist.
I think that the Endpoint timeout buff has been like a real thing the entirety of this season. And they don't need much of one here. They just got to get one win in the next 2 games. A better scoring line, a few less missed shots here makes such a difference. But also, man, look at the stat line here. They allowed 15 shots from Moist in that game. That's substantial. Moist dominating the midfield here. And it showed that the challenge game is maybe the biggest thing that feels like it's shifted from one side to the other.
Yeah, Endpoint will know, as the map order is the same in every single RLCS matchup, but game 6 is going to be Neo Tokyo. And if you've got weather effects turned on, you'll notice it is slightly drizzling. The ground is wet, moist, you could say. So this is not good news for Endpoint. They can't do anything about that. No map picks here. It's going to be Neo Tokyo. Ground will be moist. Will the matchup be moist as well?
So it's the Endpoint timeout buff versus the Moist Esports map buff.
They've got a couple of map buffs. I mean, Aquadome's beyond moist.
That's true.
They're really laying claim to a lot of these.
They dropped overtime on the water. The key thing on Aquadome, though, is you don't want the water to get into the stadium. That would be catastrophic.
Yeah, that would make the game a little bit unplayable. Don't know if the engines would work.
Yeah, I think Neo Tokyo might be a stronger buff here. Again, chat, if you're just now joining in, Endpoint looked dominant, looked absolutely in control of the series up until 4 minutes left in game 4 when the scoring began for Moist and has not stopped. An absolute deluge, 7-1 so far in the last 10 minutes of Rocket League gameplay. Moist in a huge comeback mode. Can they continue it here on Neo Tokyo?
It's been crazy. I mean, Endpoint were on a 6-game winning streak earlier today, and it was a 7-game losing streak for Moist, and suddenly one timeout for Moist, it all turns around, but they've got to keep it up here. They cannot make any mistakes. So every time they do, Endpoint are there to punish them. But Vatira starting off well with a mind game win, a flick over 2. Couldn't get past number 3.
Stats have come through. Moist record for when the opponent puts them on match point is currently 33-9, which
unreal.
Is ridiculous.
It really is just an unbelievable stat. And it's something that Moist were doing on LAN. It's something they've been doing online. They've got to do it again right now.
Oh, Joyo with the flip reset pass. That was incredible. Rise gets blocked by Metanaris, but man, what a play.
And what a read by Joyo to know where that ball was headed way before the bounce. Metanaris did well to get in the net to block that one. The mechanics look on point. The confidence looks on point for Moist. This is already worrying signs for Endpoint.
Lighting wave to Archie. Out of the opposite corner. Metanaris spawns behind them, fortunately. The Lighting wave takes it over the top of Rise, extending the play. The other corner, Vatira's up. Beaten to the ball, Archie. Now in the back corner. Metanaris as well. Over 2. Double commit from Vatira and Rise. Open backfield if they can possibly find it, but Joyo will rotate quickly, realizing the mistake that has been made. They won't get punished.
Yeah, almost looked like they were somehow going to make that double commit work with a mid-air pull shot. Moist, really the only team that make it look like that could be a play that is functional. Unfortunately for Endpoint, they'd hit the counter-attacking pass behind the counter-attacking player.
Joyo beats Metanaris in the midfield. Archie to relating wave to the goal. Off the backboard, Archie's up for it, but he's slow and out of boost. Not going to make it. Now Rise in the midfield. Joyo covered up by Metanaris, relating with the full tank. He's got Vatira on the ground, recovering from a jump. He's going to get the backboard for free, but misses the follow-up. Doesn't even force Vatira to make the save.
Yeah, that wasn't a fake from Relating Wave. You can see he's leaning into the ball even at the last second. I think he realized he was missing and decided, well, no point stretching any further than this, but he should absolutely be hitting that. That's a big miss from Relating Wave.
Vatira puts it up for Rise. Relating Wave beats him to the ball again. Relating Wave quick to the air right now. Joyo will push it back into the orange and Archie out to the wall. Approaching halftime, neither team on the board. And I think from Endpoint at this point, this was considered an improvement, given that by halftime they were losing. We're not even there yet. Never mind. Strike by Wards. Joyo puts it in.
Yeah, Relating Wave, take notes. Joyo has the backboard read. He's got the goal. And unfortunately for Endpoint, so far, that timeout buff hasn't seemed to take effect. It's the Moist avoiding elimination buff that's just too powerful to overcome.
It's a bit drippy out here. It's a problem. Vatira under 1. Now over 2. Joyo with the stop. Blocked by Relating Wave. Metzenaris now on the backboard. Archie's up for it. Vatira going to beat him to the ball. Relating Wave in the backfield. Has it all to himself. Trying to connect with Archie, but Joyo will take it away from him. Metzenaris now moving into an empty corner. Joyo quickly closes the gap on him. It's 2 touches in a row. Relating Wave will play to his own side. 2:07 on the clock. 1-0 lead for Moist, who are threatening Game 7 and a reverse sweep. After a disastrous start to the day, getting perfect swept, they might complete it the other way.
Well, brief 2v1. That's a bit of a loose touch, though, from Relating Wave. He had support from Metzenaris. Didn't pass the ball to him. Didn't give Metz the time to bump. He's got another chance, but again, shoots straight to the goalkeeper. Endpoint not holding that same level he had earlier on.
Archie had the opportunity to bump Vatira, but flew over his head. What could have opened the gate and tied the game. Archie out the backboard. Vatira leans it long. Now Joy on the corner, past 1. Can he get past 2? No. Metzenaris, though, picking up the corner boost and then rotating out, kind of bumped into Archie on the way out. Archie now upfield, losing a challenge. Metzenaris up for it. Struggling to gain control. Joyo going to miss as well. This one bounced to the midfield for Relating Wave. He's out of boost, but gets it past the front line. Here comes Metzenaris onto the backboard, looking for the tap. Doesn't find it. Rice glued on the ground. Off the corner, off the crossbar. Endpoint finding a good step 1, step 2, but at step 3, falling apart every time.
Yeah, it's that last shot. They're just not getting it on target. Earlier on, they were sniping top corners, but now they're hitting goalkeepers, they're hitting crossbars, or they're just missing the ball entirely on these difficult backboard reads. I say difficult, but you know, we expect pros and we expect an Endpoint in this form to be hitting those difficult reads. They need to do it in the next 40 seconds, or we are going to Game 7.
Crazy to think that we could possibly be here. Metzenaris up 1. Vatira past 2. Archie down to Relating Wave, looking for the tie, into the corner. 30 seconds left. And Metzenaris.
What touch.
Over 1. Here's Vatira. To the corner, and it's in. He's got it for free. 2-0. Moist Esports are alive and kicking.
A great first touch by Vatira, playing it as high as he can to get it over the top of the challenge that he knew would be coming his way. After sneaking it past, he wasn't done. Gets back to the ball to send it on target. Moist are on fire.
Do you remember a minute into Game 4 when I called the series?
I do. I do remember that. I don't think the Endpoint fans are big fans of you for you doing that anymore. But oh, hold on. They're going to get one late goal. Relating Wave hits the target, and Moist are in a bit of a mess on that play. They had everybody back, but not really sure where or what to do with the ball.
7 seconds left. A good kickoff could change everything. We could go to overtime and put the end of the series within reach again. How does this go? Stayed on the ground. That's not a good sign for Endpoint. They'll get it lofted here, but it's in the wrong corner. Metzenaris, they're struggling to keep this one off the ground. Rye's going to actually keep it alive for a second there, but no. Moist will put it into the ground. Game 7 inbound. How about it? Oh my God.
Great control. Great patience there from Rise at the end of the game. If he just hit that ball into the ground first time, there's a decent chance that it would have bounced on just 1 second remaining, but he took that touch, controlled it just for 1 moment, and then hit it into the ground. So really good play. Again, you know, Moist, they don't just score in 0 seconds. They just do everything right in 0 seconds, it turns out. But what is going on here? Endpoint just don't look like they've got that same consistency anymore. I really think it's down to Moist rattling them, though. The Moist that came out in Game 4 and 5, which just completely took over the game and made Endpoint look silly, while seemingly also pulling ridiculous plays out that don't look like they should work, but they do work because it's Joyo, Vatira, and Rise.
Yeah.
Now, the confidence is completely gone from Endpoint. It's like Moist have taken all of Endpoint's confidence, and now that they've got it, they don't look like they can lose. But Game 7 is going to be a hype one either way. Moist have got an incredible record in that environment. They still have to prove it today. Overall today, they've had a bad day up until this ridiculous run of form.
They would like set as a record a thing here. Maybe that's an achievement completed that no one else has completed. No one has ever been perfect, swept, and then completed a reverse sweep in the same day. So they would be the first team in the history of RLCS to do that, as well as a fun fact. This is second best of 7 reverse sweep setup we've had today. Aegis Light and Detonator earlier over in the APAC went to
no way.
in this format. So we'll see what happens here. Reminder, Moist Esports have the most reverse sweeps of any team, tied right now for the most reverse sweeps. They would take the lead with a win here. They would also qualify for Worlds. They would clinch a World spot with a win in this game. So much on the line. Metanaris trying to put a pass down on Vatira. Gets in his way again. Vatira has been a problem for Endpoint, even at the beginning of the series.
At Endpoint, if they want to keep their split alive, they absolutely need a win here. They had a horrendous regional number 1. Just every step further into this bracket they can make just improves their chances significantly of fighting for those spots at the Spring Major and just securing themselves a seed for Worlds. You know, Moist are going to make both the Spring Major and Worlds. It's just a matter of when. But Endpoint, they're actually still in the mix fighting for it. So they've got to dig deep here. They need this so badly.
There's Archie. Long touch Vatira to the outside. Joyo past 1. Archie in the corner up against Rise. Past 1. Archie should try and get it past Vatira here, but loses the challenge high in the sky. Rise turning on this one. Vatira has fallen into the box. Could cause a problem for the Endpoint goalies. Joyo losing control. Archie here now. Going for the fake touches here. Now looking for a goalie. Not going to find anything. Metanaris out of the corner trying to set up a relating wave. The rest of Moist getting in the way. On the outside, Vatira, long clear, able to dodge any scoring opportunities from Endpoint.
Yeah, Vatira decided enough's enough. The ball keeps bouncing around our box. Let's just get some breathing room and start again once Endpoint advance. 1 reset for Joyo and offloads to Vatira, who beats his man. It's just relating wave alone at the back, but that's the touch he needed to make. Great control on the backboard by Wave.
Number of 1 challenges. Relating wave, cleaning out the back for his team, and now Archie winning another challenge, trying to get it off the wall, gets 1 demolition, going to leave 1 goalie stranded here, but no one really easily taking over control here. Metanaris setting up a relating wave. We'll see Joyo on the attack. Draws just enough of a touch. Relating wave touches off the post, it's out. Metanaris back across relating wave. Can he do the 180? Just hits the ball back to the corner, just trying to hold on to control. Field positioning here. Relating wave and Metanaris piled up in the corner. You know Archie's got to play safe. Now crashing into the box as Metanaris rotated out. Now Rise looking to connect with Vatira, not going to touch him here, but wins the challenge on the other side. What a second touch.
Yeah, great look at the goal there from Endpoint. Definitely close to scratch. The mid-air pinch just hit the post. Demos to follow up. Relaying wave through the smoke. Just had to guess where the ball was. Chips it backboard. And now the post again. It's that same post. And now the crossbar denies Endpoint. Relaying wave unable to get the 3rd shot on target. Endpoint just can't get the ball between the post and the bar.
Their practice field must have a slightly wider goal. Oh, man. So many. That was like 5 missed shots just by pixels.
I can't believe it.
Endpoint.
How many more chances can they hope to get against Moist? I mean, that was the perfect start. We haven't seen any kind of offense like that from Endpoint in the last 3 games.
All right, here's the thing, Endpoint fans. I'm just going to give this to you. I'm just going to call this series here at this point, okay? If they didn't make those goals, Moist is going to win. Even things out right. What a save, Archie. Joy on the outside. Metanaris trying to give it to Archie. And losing the challenge in the midfield. Metanaris taking his time, turning around on that one, but Vatira's also backwards to Joyo, going to emerge with control here. He's the beginning of the offense. Vatira sets up, Metanaris blocks, Rise keeps it in the back 3rd. Relating wave picking up 1 boost. Trying to chase this down. Went for the pre-jump block. But guessed incorrectly. Now Rise and Vatira both on the corner, hanging up on top of each other. This is a big confusion.
Wait.
Relating wave's going to open goal, but Joyo, he saw the play developing and careened back, turned and burned for the save.
That was reminiscent of the Atomic Chicago winner final misplay. Just 2 players drive up to the ball and then confuse each other. Nobody wants to double commit, but you've got to commit someone. Final minute, both teams 1 goal away from top 4. Endpoint need this so badly to keep the Spring Spit alive. Moist need this just for their confidence. Only 1 team can have it.
To further cement themselves as a dynasty in the current generation. Archie Up against 2. Vatira and Joyo double commit, but Vatira measures with control, no problem, and rises up the bumper anyway. He makes the save off the crossbar, no way! And the back passes will keep it in Moist's hands, but my goodness, what a stop.
Insane by Wave. Both teams making great saves, and it's actually Endpoint who are starting to up the pace now. They're fighting for that midfield like they did earlier on in the series, but the net's open, and Mestinores can only put it in his own net. It might have been in already, but there was no third man, no one at home for Endpoint. And Mestinores decided, I've got to do something. It's already in. Unfortunately, couldn't hit his own post. And with 11 seconds left, Moist are on the cusp of reverse sweeping.
11 seconds. It all comes down to the kickoff. Archie's got it. And a great start here for an aggressive push. Metanaris is airborne. Do not miss. Joyo's there. Long clear down the field. Relating Wave. Keeping it high. Connecting with Archie. The clock is expired and it's into the ground. You can't stop them. You can't count them out ever. Moist Esports reverse sweep Endpoint.
That is unbelievable. How on earth did Moist level up like this? Look at the energy on the face cams. I don't think they can believe it either. They are now the team with the most reverse sweeps this season, and it shows why. I mean, to dig themselves out of that hole, not just to be 3 goals down, but to be 3 games down, sorry. But to be 3 games down against an Endpoint who are playing the best that we've seen from them all season, and to, I think, Moist to make the biggest level up between game 3 and 4 that we've ever seen from them. They completely turned it around. They went back to their best, and even in the moments where things were chaotic, they managed to hold it together.
The amount of crazy statistics that they have put up just in this series to add on to, like, hold on.
This team doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense.
They are 10-1 in game 7s. They are 18-3 in game 5s and 7s since the winter split started. I guess that's now 19-3. They have 5 of the last 6 reverse sweeps. Now leading the league in reverse sweeps.
That's so silly. How? How is it fair? How are they allowed to be this clutch? It's not. It doesn't make any sense.
And they've qualified for Worlds. Congratulations, boys.
Yeah.
We'll see you in Dallas, in Fort Worth, at the Dickies Arena. This is going to be crazy. That is utter, what a collapse. I mean, for Endpoint, what is even going through your mind in that situation?
Honestly, I don't think they can be too upset because Moist were just like on another level game 4 or 5, but Endpoint, they got to hit their shots. Game 7, they had the chances. They just did not take them.
Here's the thing, chat. If you're playing Moist Esports, do not take them to match point. They are 35-9. Unfortunately, to beat them, you have to take them to match point. So how you beat this team, I don't know. What a series. We got at least one more for you today. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, heading down to the other lower bracket match. Going to be a wild one. You won't want to miss it.